Hey guys, this is Mythos Gamer. Welcome back for our fifth turn of our second game. I think this turn we're going to change things up a little bit. Instead of going over each investigator and showing what sanity and stamina and clue tokens they have, this turn what we're going to do is we're going to go over the items they have. It's been a couple turns since our opening video, and you may have forgotten what exactly everybody has. So what I'm thinking I might do is each video I might rotate. One video I'll do their sanity, stamina, their stat sheet, and then the next video I'll go over their items. Just kind of keep things different and not so repetitive, but also try to keep you guys up to date on what's going on since you can't see everything that's in front of me. Alright, so let's move on to our first investigator. Alright, first we're going to go over Harvey Watch It Played Walters. His first item is the Enchanted Knife, a magic weapon that gives +3 to combat checks. His second item is the Enchanted Jewelry. During any phase, you can put one stamina token from the bank on enchanted jewelry to avoid losing one stamina. If there are 3 stamina tokens on it, discard enchanted jewelry. He has the spell Dread Curse of Azathoth, the casting modifier of -2, a sanity cost of 2, and during any phase, you can cast and exhaust to gain +9 to combat checks until the end of combat. He has the Shriveling spell. It has a casting modifier of -1, a sanity cost of 1. And during any phase, you can cast and exhaust to gain +6 to combat checks until the end of combat. And finally, he has the Fight skill that gives him +1 to fight. And when you spend a clue token to add to any fight check, you can add 1 extra die. Our next investigator is Carolyn Fern. Her first unique item is the Holy Water. It gives +6 to combat checks, but you discard it after you use it. Her second unique item is the Lamp of Alrazed, a magic weapon that gives +5 to combat checks. Her third unique item is the Gate Box we just got. During any phase, when you return from Arkham from the other world, you can return to any location with an open gate, not just those leading to the other world you were in. Her first common item is the 45 automatic, a one-handed weapon that gives +4 to combat checks. She has the Axe, a physical weapon that gives +2 to combat checks, +3 if it's the only weapon you're using. And she has the Marksman skill. During any phase you can exhaust or reroll a combat check. Moving on, next we have Jenny Barnes. Her only unique item is the Sword of Glory. It's a magical weapon that gives +6 to combat checks, requires 2 hands. First common item is the Derringer, a one-handed physical weapon that gives +2 to combat checks, and it cannot be lost or stolen unless you allow it. Her other common item is the Dynamite, a physical weapon that gives +8 to combat checks, but you have to discard it after you use it. Jenny has 2 spells. The first one is Bind Monster, a casting modifier of +4 and a sanity cost of 2. During any phase, you can cast and discard this spell to pass 1 combat check. You must roll successes equal to the monster's toughness to cast a spell. The spell does not work against ancient ones. Her other spell is Fine Gate, a casting modifier -1, with a sanity cost of 1. During movement, cast and exhaust to immediately return to Arkham from another world. And she has the skill Luck, +1 to Luck. When you spend a clue token to add to any luck check, add 1 extra bonus die. And our last investigator, Ashcan Pete. He has his ally Duke, gives +1 to maximum sanity, and you can discard to immediately restore your sanity to its maximum. He has one unique item, the King in Yellow. It is a tome. During movement, you can exhaust and spend 2 movement points to make a lore -2 check. If you pass, gain 4 clue tokens, lose 1 sanity, and discard the King in Yellow. If you fail, nothing happens. He has 2 common items, the Lucky Cigarette Case. During any phase, you can discard Lucky Cigarette Case to reroll any 1 skill check. He also has the Tommy Gun, a 2-handed physical weapon that gives +6 to combat checks. And he has the Stealth skill. During any phase, you can exhaust to reroll an evade check. Alright guys, that's our update for turn 5. Now we're going to move on to the upkeep phase. Our first player marker moves over to Harvey Walters. During our upkeep, Ginny will gain $1. This will bring her up to a total of 7. I think we're going to leave everyone's skills the way they are this turn. So we're going to move on to the movement phase. Harvey's in some desperate need of some clue tokens. He has a movement of 3. We're moving from the woods to uptown, from uptown to south side, and finally from south side to the Historical Society where we'll grab a clue token. We still have a gate open in the graveyard. The graveyard is kind of a hot spot for other gates appearing, so we're going to try and close this gate just to prevent a monster surge from happening. Carolyn has a movement of 3. We're going to move from the French Hill to Rivertown, and then from Rivertown over to the graveyard. During our Arkham Encounters phase, she'll go through the gate. Because Ginny was delayed last turn, all she can do for this movement phase is ready. Since the Black Cave has 2 clue tokens on it, we need to get someone over there before another gate opens up and removes them. So we're going to have Ashcan start heading that direction. He's going to go from the Asylum to downtown, from the downtown streets to Easttown streets, and finally from the Easttown streets to Rivertown streets. Hopefully next turn he'll be able to move over to the Black Cave and grab those 2 clue tokens. Now on to our Arkham Encounters phase. First we have Harvey at the Historical Society. You encounter a friendly old professor from Miskatonic University. If you spend 1 gate trophy, he introduces himself as Professor Armitage and offers to join forces with you. Take his ally card if it's available. Otherwise, draw 1 unique item. Harvey does have a gate trophy, and I don't think there's anything else we were planning on using it for, so why not? Unfortunately, Professor Armitage is the one ally we lost when the terror level went up. So, we're going to have to get a unique item instead. We drew the Blue Watcher of the Pyramid. During any phase, you can lose 2 stamina and discard Blue Watcher of the Pyramid to automatically succeed at a combat check or a fight or lore check made to close the gate. This cannot be used against the Ancient One. Not bad. There aren't really any monsters on the board that are too tough. So we may use this. Unfortunately, it can't be used against the Ancient One, but we'll see. For Carolyn's encounter phase, she's going to get pulled through the gate and will start her journey through the Great Hall of Celino. Ashcan's in the Rivertown streets, so he won't have an encounter this turn. Now for our Otherworld encounter phase. Carolyn is in the Great Hall of Celino, and we need a blue or green Otherworld encounter card. The first one we drew is yellow. Alright, the second one we drew is green, and it has Celino on there. Just a little side note, it does not say Great Hall of Celino, just Celino. You may have noticed in the first game I overlooked that a couple times. You find a secret lore hidden in the mosaics on the wall. Make a lore +2 check and gain clue tokens equal to your successes. That is fantastic. Unfortunately, Carolyn is the one who least needs a clue token. She already has 7. But hey, we'll always take more. Maybe we can close this gate, or seal this gate, and not have to worry about messing with it later. Carolyn has a lore of 4. So with the +2, we're going to roll 6 die. Looks like we got 2 successes. I'm going to re-roll one of those. Okay, just 2 successes. So that's 2 more clue tokens for Carolyn. And we have Ginny and Arle. We need a red or yellow Otherworld encounter card. We drew The Stars Are Right. Shuffle the gate deck and keep drawing until you get an encounter of the right color. Alright, the next one we drew is a blue one. Not what we need. Alright, we drew a yellow one, and Arle is not on there. So we're going to use Other. A ripple in the air passes over you. Pass a lore -1 check or lose 1 spell of your choice as a burn from your mind. Jenny only has a lore of 2, so with a -1, we're only going to roll 1 die for this. And we got success. Should keep both of her spells. Alright, that ends our Otherworld encounter phase, so we're going to move on to the Mythos phase. Alright, we drew our Mythos card, and we're going to have a gate appear at the Black Cave. Okay, we drew our gate, and we got the City of the Great Race. A +0 to close. It is a triangle. Unfortunately, the Black Cave is where Ashcan was trying to get those last 2 clue tokens. Looks like he was 1 movement too short. The clue tokens are now gone, and hopefully whatever monster we draw, they won't get a movement this turn, otherwise Ashcan might be in trouble. Because another new gate opened up, this puts our Doom track at 6. For our monster, we drew a Chthonian, a triangle monster, with a +1 to sneak checks. He has a -2 to horror checks and does 2 sanity damage, a -3 to combat checks, does 3 stamina damage, and has 3 toughness. He's a green monster, so he will never move. Instead of moving, roll a die. On a 4/6, all investigators in Arkham lose 1 stamina. There's our Chthonian, who will not move, guarding the gate to the City of the Great Race. Next, we will have a clue appear at Hibbs Roadhouse. Right now, there is no one at Hibbs Roadhouse, so we will add our clue token. For monster movement, we don't have a square or a diamond, and we do have a circle. However, it's the Warlock, and he is a yellow monster, so no movement. We drew a headline. Lodge member held for questioning. A Silver Lodge ritual lets 2 monsters loose in the Fringe Hill streets. Looks like Ashcan's the unlucky one this game. Not only did he not get his 2 clue tokens, but he's getting surrounded by monsters. Let's draw our 2 monsters, see what we get. Alright, our first monster is a Maniac, at -1 to sneak checks. Moves on a moon. There's no horror check needed. It's a +1 for combat checks with 1 toughness. If the terror level is at least 6, Maniac's fight rate increases to -2. His combat damage increases to 3 stamina, and he gains endless. Right now our terror rating is only a 1. We've actually managed that pretty good this game, so hopefully we won't reach 6. And our second monster is an Elder Thing. A -2 to sneak rating, and moves on the diamond symbol. It has a -3 to hard checks, and does 2 sanity damage, a +0 to combat checks, and does 1 stamina damage, has 2 toughness. When you fail a combat check against the Elder Thing, you must discard one of your weapons or spells. Alright, there are 2 monsters at the French Hill, blocking the way to the gate at the witch's house, and preventing us from getting that clue token. Alright guys, that is the end of our 5th turn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next turn.